In a devastating turn of events, Ukrainian children have lost their lives in Russian strikes, just hours after plans for a Trump-Putin summit were abruptly shelved. This tragic development raises urgent questions about the escalating conflict and the global response to it. But here's where it gets even more unsettling. Could the cancellation of high-level talks have emboldened Russia's aggression? At least 7 people, including 2 children, were killed in a wave of Russian drone and missile attacks on Ukraine, officials confirmed. A kindergarten in Kharkiv, Ukraine's second-largest city, was struck, and widespread damage was reported in Kyiv. Among the 27 wounded were children, highlighting the brutal toll of the conflict on the most vulnerable. Is this a deliberate tactic or a grim consequence of war? Just hours earlier, former U.S. President Donald Trump announced that his planned summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Budapest had been put on hold. Trump cited concerns about a wasted meeting, but this decision has sparked debate. Did it inadvertently create a vacuum, allowing Russia to intensify its attacks? Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy was quick to respond, arguing that Moscow has not faced sufficient pressure to end its war. But here's the controversial part. Russian officials disputed Trump's claim, insisting that preparations for the summit were ongoing. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov called much of the speculation gossip and rumors, emphasizing that a meeting was still a mutual goal. Who's telling the truth, and what does this mean for diplomacy? Zelenskyy, who recently visited Norway as part of the European tour, had earlier met with Trump in Washington. Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine began in February 2022. And the overnight attacks on Kyiv were the first in nearly 2 weeks. Among the victims were a couple in their 60s, killed when a drone hit their high-rise building, and a family in the village of Pohreby, a 36-year-old woman, a 6-month-old baby, and a 12-year-old girl, whose house was set ablaze. How can the world stand by as civilians, especially children, bear the brunt of this war? In Kharkiv, a 40-year-old man was killed, and 7 others were injured in a drone strike on a kindergarten. Dozens of children were evacuated. A stark reminder of the war's impact on the youngest and most innocent. Ukraine's Air Force reported that Russia launched 405 drones and 28 missiles, 15 of which were ballistic, leaving Kyiv under a ballistic missile warning for most of the night. By morning, rescue teams battled fires in residential buildings, while emergency power outages were imposed across several regions as Russia once again targeted energy infrastructure. Is this a deliberate strategy to cripple Ukraine's resilience, or a desperate act of war? Kyiv MP Inna Sovsun told the BBC that the air raids lasted throughout the night, clearly targeting the power supply. For many of us, it means no electricity and no water, she said. As the world watches, the question remains, what will it take to end this cycle of violence? And what role should global leaders play? Do you think the cancellation of the Trump-Putin summit contributed to Russia's escalation? Share your thoughts in the comments below.